Picture a sprawling, temporary metropolis materializing beneath the thick canopy of a sal forest. 1,000 silk pavilions rise from the damp earth, housing tens of thousands of people where only wilderness existed the day before. The common image of a royal hunt features a solitary monarch on horseback, aiming a bow into the brush, a quiet, isolated test of skill. Mughal expeditions involved 500 armored war elephants, while 2,000 men beat drums and shouted to drive wildlife toward the center of the encampment. A mobilization of this size functioned as a performance of political power, a demonstration that the emperor possessed the absolute right to command both his subjects and the earth itself. Keeping this moving city alive in the wild required a bureaucratic miracle. The imperial kitchens produced thousands of meals daily, and the animals alone demanded staggering resources. A single war elephant consumed as much grain as 2 entire strings of transport camels every single day. We start with the emperor at the center, represented by a single dot. The footprint expands rapidly to include the cooks, record keepers, animal handlers, and the vast herds of livestock needed to keep that one man in the field. The administration tracked all of this with obsessive precision. The imperial regulations, recorded in the Ain-e-Akbari, detailed the exact daily wages of the laborers, the precise mixture of food required for the royal mules, and the branding of the camels. Nothing was left to chance. This leaves us with a central question. Why would an empire finance the logistics, the manpower, and the heavy bureaucracy of a full-scale military invasion, all to shoot local wildlife? Mughal hunting tactics relied on capturing wildlife and repurposing it to do the work of the hunters. Take the Indian black buck. Handlers used tame, captive bucks with heavy stone weights tied to their feet and nooses around their horns. When released near a herd, these decoys would provoke wild deer. During the fight, the wild deer's horns would entangle in the net, allowing the hunters to step in. For faster prey, the empire maintained hundreds of captive cheetahs. Handlers kept the cats blindfolded with leather hoods and strapped them to rolling carts, suppressing their predatory instincts during the long journey to the hunt. The handlers would wait until the cart reached perfect striking distance. Only then would they slip off the hood, triggering an explosive sprint from the cat to bring down the target. The emperors recruited apex predators into their service, valuing their power as a specialized extension of the imperial military. Traveling alongside these hunters and animal handlers was an entirely different group of professionals, the imperial artists, scribes, and bureaucrats. During these expeditions, the first Mughal emperor, Babur, operated like a field biologist. Even while his army chased down massive beasts like the Indian rhinoceros, he took detailed notes, documenting their anatomy and the environments where they thrived. Over the next century, his successors expanded this obsession. The imperial courts became vast menageries, absorbing exotic animals shipped in as diplomatic gifts from Turkey, Europe, and Africa. When a living African zebra arrived at the court in 1621, Emperor Jahangir personally examined it to confirm the stripes were natural. He then commissioned his master artist, Mansour, to produce a hyper-accurate rendering of the creature's anatomy. Each expedition functioned as a data-gathering mission, building a systematic catalog of the natural world. The enormous cost of the hunt produced the Baburnama and the Jahangirnama, detailed encyclopedias that mapped out the physical and biological reality of the Indian subcontinent. The imperial studio achieved remarkable scientific precision. In documentation of regional birds, like this Himalayan cheer pheasant, artists captured feather patterns and anatomical proportions with clinical accuracy. This mandate for clinical observation extended to the human population. When a courtier named Inayat Khan was near death, Jahangir ordered his artists to sketch him, resulting in an uncompromising record of physical decay. By compiling these texts and these paintings, the emperor claimed intellectual ownership over the entire biological reality of his empire. The camp mapped vast geographies, catalogued unknown species, and tamed the wild's fiercest predators. Directing this operation sat the emperor himself, physically positioned at the apex of the natural hierarchy. The imperial studio transformed the fleeting violence of the moment into a permanent, portable piece of evidence. The record of the kill became a lasting asset for the administration. For the Mughals, dominion required the conquest of the landscape, the subjugation of its predators, and the total ownership of all knowledge within it.